In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was attacked outside her apartment building in New York City. The attack lasted 35 minutes. 38 people heard it. Not one called the police. Not one opened their door. Not one shouted from their window. They just listened and did nothing. When the story broke, the public was furious. Newspapers called it a moral failure. Psychologists called it something else. Because what those 38 people did that night wasn't evil. It wasn't indifference. It was something far more disturbing than either of those things. It was completely normal human behavior, and the reason it happened is sitting inside you right now. Two psychologists named John Darley and Bibb Latané read about Kitty Genovese and couldn't let it go. They weren't interested in the attack, they were interested in the witnesses. Specifically, they wanted to know one thing. Why didn't anyone help? The obvious answer was that people in cities are cold, disconnected. They don't care about strangers. But Darley and Latané didn't trust the obvious answer. So they designed an experiment. They brought college students into a room and told each one they were going to have a conversation with other students through an intercom system. About everyday life, about the pressures of college. Each student believed they were talking to either one other person, two other people, or 5 other people. Then, during the conversation, one of the voices on the intercom began to have what sounded like a seizure, choking, struggling, asking for help, then the voice disappeared. Here is what happened. When students believed they were the only other person on the call, 85% of them immediately got up and went to find help. But when students believed there were 5 other people on the call, only 31% helped. And they took twice as long to do it. Same emergency, same sound, completely different response. The only thing that changed was how many other people they thought were listening. Darley and Latané called it the Bystander Effect. And what it revealed about human nature is something most people spend their entire lives not wanting to know. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain when you are surrounded by other people and something goes wrong. Your brain is doing a calculation, constantly, automatically, without asking your permission. It is scanning the people around you and asking one silent question. Are they reacting? If nobody around you is moving, your brain interprets that stillness as information. It concludes that maybe this isn't as serious as it seems. Maybe the other people know something you don't. Maybe you misread the situation. This is called pluralistic ignorance. Everyone in the group is privately uncertain. But because everyone is looking at everyone else's calm face and seeing no reaction, everyone concludes that there must be no problem. The group creates a false reality that nobody inside it actually believes. And then there is the second layer, diffusion of responsibility. The more people present, the less any single person feels responsible for acting. In a crowd of 30, your brain quietly calculates that your share of the responsibility is 1/30th. Someone else will do it. Someone else is probably already doing it. The responsibility spreads so thin across so many people that nobody feels the full weight of it, and so nobody moves. These are not character flaws. They are not signs of weakness or selfishness. They are features of a social brain that evolved to read the group before acting alone. For most of human history, when everyone around you went still, it was a signal. A predator was close. Moving when the group didn't move could get you killed. The same system that kept your ancestors alive is the system that kept 38 people in their apartments while Kitty Genovese was attacked outside. Darley and Latané didn't stop at one experiment. They kept testing. They staged people collapsing on subway trains. They filled rooms with smoke while people sat quietly filling out forms. In every version, the same pattern appeared. The more witnesses, the less likely anyone was to help, and the less likely anyone was to help quickly. In one version, they staged a theft in plain sight. When one person witnessed it alone, they reported it 65% of the time. When there were other witnesses present, that number dropped to 25%. In another study, they had someone planted in the group who reacted to the smoke filling the room with complete calm, just kept filling out their form. When other participants saw this one calm person, they were significantly less likely to leave the room even as the smoke grew thicker. One person's false calm was enough to override the survival instincts of an entire group. This is the part that should unsettle you, because you have been that calm person without knowing it, and other people have looked at your face and concluded that everything was fine. Now here's the part that nobody tells you. The bystander effect is not just about emergencies. It is not just about someone collapsing on a street or a crime happening in public. It is happening in your life right now in ways you have never noticed. Every time someone in your group seems unhappy and you wait for someone else to ask if they are okay. Every time something is clearly wrong in a meeting and everyone looks at everyone else and says nothing. Every time you see something you know you should address and you think someone else will handle it. The crowd is everywhere, and the crowd is always silent. Knowing about the bystander effect does not automatically free you from it, but it does one very specific thing. It removes the excuse of the crowd. Because once you know that everyone around you is doing the same calculation, waiting to see if someone else will move, you understand that the person most likely to break that silence is the person who knows that silence is a trap. In Darley and Latané's experiments, there was one consistent variable that predicted whether someone would help. Not personality, not morality, not courage. The single biggest predictor of whether someone helped was whether they felt personally responsible. Not collectively responsible, not somewhat responsible. Personally, singularly, this is on me. The moment you stop dividing responsibility by the number of people in the room, the bystander effect loses most of its power over you. 38 people stood behind closed doors while Kitty Genovese was attacked. Each one of them was waiting for someone else to be the one. None of them thought of themselves as a bad person. They were just doing what the group was doing, which was nothing. The question isn't whether you would have been different. The question is whether you will be different now that you know what the silence actually is.